After Hours English.
Hey everyone, welcome back to After Hours English. I'm Emma, and I'm really happy to have you here again today.
And I'm Jake. In this podcast, we focus on helping you learn natural English through real conversations, so you can get used to how people actually speak.
Lately, we've been talking more about topics related to Japan, especially for people who are interested in the culture, daily life, or planning a trip there someday.
But we also want to keep things flexible, so in the future, we'll cover a variety of topics beyond Japan as well.
So whether you're studying English or just listening casually, we hope you can relax and enjoy the conversation.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about trains in Japan. I actually just came back from a trip there, and I used trains almost every single day, sometimes multiple times a day.
That sounds like a full experience. I've heard trains are basically the main way to travel in Japan, especially in cities like Tokyo.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Trains are everywhere, and they connect almost everything. You can go to most places just by using trains and maybe a short walk.
So what was your first impression when you started using the trains?
Honestly, I was impressed but also a bit overwhelmed. The system is amazing, but there's just so much information at once.
Was it mainly the number of lines that confused you?
Yes, exactly. There are JR lines, subway lines, and private railways, and sometimes they're in the same station but managed by different companies.
That sounds complicated for a first-time visitor.
It is. I had to stop many times to double-check the signs and make sure I was going the right way.
Did you ever feel lost or unsure?
Yes, definitely. On my first day, I actually took the wrong train and went in the opposite direction without realizing it for a while.
That must have been frustrating at the moment.
A little bit, but it turned into a good learning experience. I realized that mistakes are part of traveling.
And I guess it wasn't too hard to fix.
Exactly. The trains come very frequently, so I just got off at the next station and went back the other way.
That's very convenient compared to other countries.
Yes, in some places you might have to wait a long time, but in Japan, the next train is usually just a few minutes away.
What about punctuality? People always say Japanese trains are extremely on time.
That's absolutely true. Everything runs on schedule. Even a delay of 1 minute feels unusual.
That must make planning your day much easier.
It really does. I felt like I could rely on the system completely, which made traveling less stressful.
What about inside the trains? What kind of atmosphere did you notice?
The trains were very clean, and what surprised me the most was how quiet everything was. People rarely talk loudly.
Did that feel unusual to you?
Yes, it did. I became very aware of my own behavior, like how loud I was speaking or even how I was moving.
That's interesting.
Also, people line up neatly on the platform, and there are clear markings showing where to stand and where the doors will open.
And everyone actually follows those markings?
Yes, and that makes boarding very smooth. People let others get off the train first, and then they get on.
That sounds very respectful and efficient.
It really is. I felt like everything was designed to make the process easier for everyone. Oh, and I definitely need to talk about Shinjuku Station, because that was a whole different experience.
Yes, I've heard that station is extremely complex and easy to get lost in. Did you get lost there?
Completely. I was just trying to find one exit, but I ended up in a totally different area.
How long were you walking around?
Probably around 20 minutes. I kept following signs, but I felt like I was going in circles.
That sounds exhausting, but also kind of funny.
Yes, looking back, it's funny. But at the time, I was a bit stressed because I just wanted to get out.
So how did you finally find your way?
In the end, I decided to go up to the ground level and use Google Maps to understand where I was.
So you gave up navigating inside the station?
Yes, and honestly, that was the right decision. That's when I learned how important it is to check the exact exit number.
That's a really practical tip for travelers.
Also, I realized that in very large stations, it can sometimes be easier to go outside rather than trying to figure everything out underground.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now, I also want to talk about something that really surprised me: rush hour trains.
Oh, yes, I've seen videos online. They look extremely crowded and intense.
They really are. The first time I experienced it, I couldn't believe how many people were trying to get on the train at the same time.
Was it difficult to get inside?
Yes, it was. People were packed so tightly that once I got in, I could barely move at all.
That sounds very intense. That's really impressive.
After that experience, I tried to avoid rush hour whenever possible, but I'm glad I experienced it at least once.
Yeah, it sounds like something you should try once just to understand it.
Exactly. It's a unique part of daily life in Japan.
What about tickets? Was it difficult to understand the system?
Not at all. I used an IC card like Suica, and it made everything very simple and convenient.
How does it work exactly?
You just tap the card when you enter the station and tap again when you leave. That's all you need to do.
That sounds very easy to use.
Yes, and you can also use the same card at convenience stores, vending machines, and even some restaurants.
That's really useful for travelers.
I also relied heavily on Google Maps. It tells you which train to take, which platform to go to, and even the best train car for transfers.
That's incredibly helpful, especially in a complex system.
It really is. Without it, I would have been much more confused and probably wasted a lot of time.
Did you try the Shinkansen as well?
Yes, I did, and it was one of the highlights of my trip. It was fast, smooth, and very comfortable.
Did it feel fast when you were inside?
Not really, which was surprising. It felt very stable, but when you look outside, you can see how fast you're actually moving.
That sounds like an amazing experience.
It really was. I would definitely recommend it to anyone visiting Japan.
And don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it.
Yes, exactly. People in Japan are usually very kind and willing to help, even if there is a language barrier.
That's really nice to hear.
So even though the system might seem complicated at first, it becomes very easy and comfortable once you get used to it.
Now I really want to visit Japan and experience all of this myself.
You definitely should. It's an experience you won't forget, and it might even change how you think about public transportation.
All right, that's all for today's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this conversation and learned something new.
If you like this episode, feel free to come back and listen to more.
And we'll see you again in the next episode. Take care and have a great day.